are the 350cc versions of the KTM 390 Duke and the 390 Adventure. And now these come with the benefit of a lower GST rate, which has made these motorcycles a lot more affordable. But with that, how much has changed in terms of the motorcycles, in terms of the powertrain, and with that, has the ride experience changed? Well, we are going to find that out by riding both these motorcycles and let you guys know how much of a difference it is. But before we get going, if you are new to our channel, do consider subscribing to Car and Bike for the latest news, reviews and updates from the world of cars and bikes from Car and Bike. Okay, then let's start with the 390 Duke. Now, if you see in the flesh, the motorcycle looks almost identical to the 390 Duke R, which is the 399cc version of the motorcycle. The good thing is that KTM has retained both the engine variants, and this one, as you can see, it's got everything as same as the 399cc version. So you've got adjustable suspension, you've got ride modes, you've got cruise control. Everything on the motorcycle has remained the same, which is a good thing from KTM to not skip on any of the features or the equipment of the top spec 390 Duke. The only noticeable factor which is different is on the cosmetics side, wherein only someone with a keen eye would notice is that the body panels are slightly different in terms of their color and the graphics. So you get three color options. This is the black, you get a orange color one, and you also get the Atlantic blue. The same options on the 399cc Duke are a gunmetal grey, and you've got orange and again Atlantic blue, but then the overall way how they have the color coordination is different on that version. So that's the only way to tell you the difference between both these bikes. Now, with that covered, what has changed is the motor. Now, this is the same LC4V motor, but it's downsized. So now this has a cubic capacity of 350cc, and the power drop is on paper is not that significant, which is around 5 to 6 bhp on the power output and around 5 to 6 Nm on the peak torque. And while on paper it might not feel that significant, but out in the real world, when after riding this motorcycle, I got to say that, if you have ridden the older version, the 390cc version or the previous versions of the Duke, you will feel that the hooligan factor, the actual raw nature of how the Duke has been known for, it feels a bit, diluted. I won't say it is overly diluted, but that edge, that feeling of being on the edge of this motorcycle is a bit missed. And that is something which particularly will be noticed by people who want that kind of speed, who want that kind of rush. But if you are upgrading from a low capacity motorcycle to this segment, and with this motorcycle, with this motor, the power delivery is a bit more relaxed, it's a bit refined, and it is also more linear. So it does not feel like a bike that is out there, to come and catch you and take you off guard. It's much more rideable, and it becomes a lot more easier to manage this motorcycle in traffic. So that peaky nature which was pretty much prominent with the original Duke, that's a bit diluted, but that's the only main factor that changes on this motorcycle. Apart from that, everything from the brakes, which are really good on the motorcycle, they continue to be the same. You can literally dive into the brakes and chop speed at a very good pace. The motorcycle again is very good in terms of cornering, its capabilities, its agility. Everything has remained absolutely the same. There's no change in that. Now, with that covered, let's move on to the 390 Adventure and let you guys know what are the differences on that one. Okay, now moving to the 390 Adventure. Now this one is the 350cc version of the standard 390 Adventure. Now that one is called the S. You've got the X, you've got the S, and you've got the top spec variant. So this one is based on the middle spec variant of the 390 Adventure. So over here again, as you can see, everything is the same. There is no change in how the motorcycle looks, and everything's down to the equipment. Again, for the features and the cycle parts, everything has remained unchanged. And the cool thing is that if you have got this motorcycle, then the difference between the 399cc and the 350cc visually is absolutely non-existent. You have got the same color options. Now coming to the powertrain, you have got the same 350cc version of the LC4V motor, and the power drop is also similar to that on the Duke. And in terms of overall riding, it's slightly different take on how this motorcycle goes with the new powertrain. So since this is an adventure touring focused motorcycle, so it is not outright about performance when it comes to the 390 Adventure. So here the power delivery feels a bit more relaxed, it's more manageable, and the tractability of the motor has improved. And that actually helps in the case of the 390 Adventure. Because when you are touring, you're not looking at peak performance, you're not looking at peak torque. Yes, in terms of off-roading, you might feel a bit of drop to get through tactical or technical terrains or trails. But overall, in terms of when it comes to just the touring aspect or the daily commuting part of this motorcycle, you will barely feel any difference in the change in the power. So that being said, I feel that the 350cc motor adaptation on the 390 Adventure is something which I would be more welcoming towards if I had to consider this motorcycle. And speaking of touring, the only place where I feel that the engine might feel a bit, you'll have to give probably some more revs, is that when you're overtaking, or you probably have to drop a gear so that you can make that quick maneuver to make those overtakes. Apart from that, the adaptation of a 350cc engine on the 390 Adventure is much more welcome. So while those are the differences of both these motorcycles compared to their 390cc counterparts, the main reason for why we have these motorcycles here is because of the revised pricing, and that is a staggering 62,000, much more cheaper than their old price tags or their 390cc counterparts. And that is a big price to not be ignored that easily. Now, I feel it's completely a win-win situation in the case of the 390 Adventure, because like I said, the power delivery and how the motor performs is something that you actually want, and it makes the motorcycle much more enjoyable. But in the case of the 390 Duke, if you are someone who absolutely wants that hooligan attitude, who wants that peak performance from the Duke, then you will have to be ready to shell out that extra money to get that power and that potential out of that motor. But on the flip side, I don't think it is that much of a trade-off given the money that you're saving and the power that is lost with the 350cc engines. It's only a matter of choice that you need to make in the case of the 390 Duke. Well, that's all on the 350cc versions of the 390 Duke and the 390 Adventure. I really do hope this video has been helpful to make that decision on buying either of these two motorcycles. So if you have liked the video, do give it a like and do share it with your friends who has been planning to buy either of these two motorcycles. I'm Janak and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching Car and Bike.